Show you how to enter it in summary form. At the end of this video, you'll have a link to click on if you want, where you can go watch how to enter the exact same payroll in detailed format, which means very simply entering each individual paycheck, but also understanding how to account for that in terms of the fact that it doesn't come out of your bank account in individual checks. In the summary form, it's a little easier because we're going to enter payroll exactly the way it comes out of your bank account, and there's no other work to do. So what's that look like in QuickBooks? That's the question. And the classic mistake bookkeepers make is they take this whole net pay and they book it as a lump sum to payroll expense. And then they take these net taxes and they book it as a lump sum to the payroll, the employer tax expense, and that's not correct. The correct way to enter it is to enter in the full gross payroll, which in this example is $3,750, and that's the payroll expense. That's the employer's expense. Then within the taxes, there's the employer's share, which is right here. The employer's share of the taxes, the expense on the books is $530 with 63 cents in this example. And then you have the liabilities. This is what was taken out of the employee's paychecks, which then has to be sent into the government. So we need to book this properly in full in summary form. Even we still have to book the details. We still have to book the gross pay, the net pay, the liabilities, and the remittance of the withholdings, which includes the remittance of the liabilities and the employer's share of the taxes. So let's see what that looks like in QuickBooks. So I'm going to use the same company file, in fact, where I used and already booked the detailed payroll. So if you choose to download the exercise files, which will be available in my knowledge store by the time you're seeing this, you'll be able to look in QuickBooks and see actually both ways of doing it in terms of what that looks like in QuickBooks. You'll have the same QuickBooks file, and you'll also have this template, which you can use to just kind of take the information from a real payroll report and transfer it to the appropriate places here, so that you have a way of getting the information entered very quickly and easily into QuickBooks. So the bottom line is I've got two payments to record when I'm doing it in summary format. I've got to do the net pay and I've got to do the taxes. Forget about the fees. That's a separate payment and it goes to the payroll fees expense. I'm not even going to bother with that. That's so simple. So let's go to QuickBooks and let's write a check. Okay, now initially it's going to come out of our bank account, and let's say we're doing this payroll. The one I did in the detail was on the 9th, so let's say we're going backwards a week, right? And we're going to book this to the payroll company, and it's going to be for the net pay, $3,553. So it seems like it should be simple, right? Here's what the mistake bookkeepers make is then they go to payroll expenses and they just book this net amount to gross wages. Well, there's a big problem with that because that's not the right amount. The right amount to gross wages is the $3,750. So I'm going to come here into Excel. I copied it. I'm going to paste that number in. And then what's the difference is the $744.47, which is your payroll liabilities. Right, and notice it's going to come in as a negative because I have to reduce the gross, right, which means I need a negative number to get from the gross to the net, so that it does actually net out to the right $3,553. Notice here the employee share of the payroll taxes is $744.47. That's what we're going to have to send into the government later, in addition to the employer's share. So before I save this, let's run a balance sheet. So you can see exactly what this looks like. And for that matter, let's run a